Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I thought in the spirit of holidays here in the States, I would share with you the book I have called Heritage of America. I found it at an antique store and just fell in love with it because it's so historic, but also because I love food. So, let me share this with you. Heritage of America by Homes, Better Homes and Gardens. I'm going to read some of the parts that share about the history of our Thanksgiving dinner. Hopefully you'll be able to appreciate it a little bit even if you're not from America. Isn't that a beautiful picture of dessert with the sweet, what do you call this? Needlepoint. Those desserts look so good. Beautiful. Yum. This is the table of contents. This, no doubt, is from the Midwest somewhere. Picture of the map of the United States. The different things that they're, known for. Cattle in Texas, chilies in New Mexico, cabins in Montana. Okay. Oh, that looks so appetizing. Ribs and corn on the cob and potato salad. It's my kind of meal. The editors of Better Homes and Gardens books are proud to present the Better Homes and Gardens Heritage of America cookbook. This looks like fried fish and fried green tomatoes, which is very popular in the South. The first English colonists set down roots in Jamestown, Virginia, almost 400 years ago. Those early days were fraught with peril, but freedom and determination acted as fertilizer. And before long, hard work was rewarded with an abundant harvest and sufficient know-how to make life livable in the New World. The early settlers found New England a hard garden to tend, with its rocky soil and harsh winters, but they adapted, and the land flourished. Looks like some old tools that they used to use. Cows. The rise of commercial canning made home preserving less critical, but cooks still put up because it was economical and satisfying. There's a picture of an old wood stove. Some of these pictures will not be real obvious to you. There's an old general store with all the goods lined up on the shelves there. There's a little story of how the Americans their different ways of eating would change with the utensils that they used. And so they say in here that they started out with just using a knife, then they graduated to forks that had 2 tines on them. And then, as you can see on my forks over there, they graduated to a 3-tine fork. And now we use a 4-tine. New England. So when the colonists first stepped into Cape Cod shores in November 1620, they were arriving in a land of plenty. But the exhausted pilgrims saw nothing more than a hideous and desolate wilderness full of beasts and wild men. Such was the description of Plymouth in those early years by William Bradford, later to become the town's governor. Okay, let me read the story of Thanksgiving. The tradition of celebrating the fall harvest was as familiar to the Pilgrims as it was to Chief Massasoit, the Wampanoag Indian chief who befriended the settlers during that first harsh winter in Plymouth. The Pilgrims had come to America with memories of the Harvest Home Festival, an age-old celebration described by the 16th century English farmer Thomas Tusser at a time when harvest folks, servants, and all make all together good cheer in the hall. Such cheer was created by singing, demonstrating skills with firearms, and feasting on boiled or roasted beef, Yorkshire pudding, apple pies, cakes, and ale. The Native Americans had a more solemn approach to the harvest. They held an 8-day corn festival to offer thanks to the Earth Mother for her bounty. During this time, the tribesmen bought gifts to their chief and contributed corn to the village granary. Although different in approach, both celebrations shared the expression of gratitude for the harvest and the assurance it provided for sustenance during the long winter months ahead. In much the same spirit, it was quite natural for the Pilgrims and Chief Massasoit's tribe to join in offering thanks for the successful corn crop of 1621. In truth, very little is known about what was actually eaten at the first Thanksgiving meal in America. Thanks to the diary of Pilgrim Edward Winslow, we do know that Chief Massasoit arrived with 90 men and was feted and feasted for 3 days. The menu included a wide variety of wild fowl and 5 deer. It is very likely that the roasted meat was accompanied by cornmeal porridge sweetened with maple syrup and dotted with cranberries, squash and beans, probably perhaps a simple quahog. Squash and beans probably played a significant role in the feast, and perhaps a simple quahog clam chowder provided warming sustenance on that cold November day. They were eating outside on a cold November day. As years went on, the colonists adapted these basic regional ingredients to their own tastes. They stuffed the turkey with breadcrumbs and oysters, stewed the cranberries with sugar for a sweet relish, and added milk, eggs, and maple syrup to the stewed pumpkin, and created pumpkin pie. Ooh, that's where pumpkin pie comes from. Indeed, by the time President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed Thanksgiving a national holiday on October 3rd, 1863, the Thanksgiving meal was well on the way to looking and tasting very much as it does today. This is a Thanksgiving Day card from the 1900s. Okay, enough time spent on that, but that is the origin of our Thanksgiving dinner. Corn was a staple in the diet of Native Americans in England. As gorgeous this looks like somewhere down in the Tennessee area. The Cook's Library, Mystic Seaport, Connecticut on the right side. At Plymouth Plantation in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the Pilgrims' first settlement is reproduced down to a blazing hearth fire. Cannot imagine having to cook that way. But that's exactly how people had to do it, no doubt. We are so spoiled with all of our stoves and ovens and refrigerators. A fine dining at Boston's Parker House, 1925. Flavors from New England. They've got clam bake, boiled lobster. Make it look so appetizing and pretty. Just come back here, book. Steamed clams with horseradish and dill. Lobster risotto. Roasted chestnuts. Broiled scrod with lemon butter. Skewered scallops and swordfish with fennel. New England clam chowder. Oh, but that is the best stuff. My husband had to talk me into trying clam chowder because I didn't like clams. They were like chewy. But once I tasted that, I went, oh yeah, actually, that's really good. New England cheese soup. Irish stew with mint sour cream. Portuguese sausage soup. New England boiled dinner. Oh, those look wonderful. Ratatouille topped cod. Maple glazed turkey breast with orange parsley stuffing. My goodness. Aren't these beautiful pictures? Cranberry maple sauce. Mashed maple sweet potatoes. Whole wheat popovers with shallots. Cream of baked squash and garlic soup. Anadama bread. Parker House rolls. Boston brown bread. Boston baked beans with pancetta. Creamed succotash. Cheesy creamed corn. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll take it. Hearty corn chowder. Spiced blueberry jam. Beet and apple salad. Cranberry banana bread with orange butter. Yum. Yum. Banana cinnamon waffles. Autumn cider syrup. Red flannel hash. Hot buttered cider zipper. These are all recipes that come from back east. Pumpkin shortcake with fall fruit medley. Chunky applesauce with brandy. Cranberry fool. Deep dish apple pie with cheddar cheese crust. Oh my. Pumpkins. Pumpkin pie. Pastry for single crust pie. Gingerbread with lemon butter sauce. Indian pudding with sweetened whipped cream. Maple cream brulee. New England chocolate chip cookies. Well, that would be very interesting. Of course, all of these recipes would be lovely to try. Chocolate snickerdoodle drops. Snickerdoodle drops. Snickerdoodle drops. I just liked the way the words came off my tongue. Joe Froggers. Boston cream pie. Now that's a classic all over the country. Cherry raspberry cobbler. I'll take that, thank you very much. Berry apple slump. I think that's right there. Okay, now we're into the mid-Atlantic. Internationalism is a good word to describe the culinary character of the Middle Atlantic region. From the great melting pot of New York, arriving immigrants fanned out to New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, bringing with them the favorite dishes of their childhood. Before long, new dishes were created by substituting New World ingredients for those traditionally used back in the old country. But in many pockets of the region, the direct influence of foreign cuisines, especially Dutch and German, is still keenly felt. Okay, so that would include Delaware. The original Dutch settlers could visit New Netherland. Today they would find this rural landscape somewhat familiar. On the other hand, they'd never recognized their once bucolic Manhattan Island. No doubt, Manhattan Island has changed. By the end of the 18th century, the farms of the Middle Atlantic states were prospering, and grist mills like this one, preserved as part of the Clinton Historical Museum Village, were built to process the bounty. Benjamin Franklin was preoccupied with the art of eating, so he says, he gives a few bits of advice on how to eat. I'll just read the first one. He says, "Eat and drink such an exact quantity as the constitution of thy body allows of, in reference to the services of the mind." It's a little bit over my head, I'm afraid. I'm intelligent, but I don't know what he means. I'd have to think about it. Jewish delicatessens flourished in urban centers like New York's Lower East End. Wow, these historic pictures are so neat. The first Delmonico's restaurant opened in 1831. It was a fancy restaurant for the people who were wealthy. Oh, and whoever could afford to go. This was more my speed because I was never wealthy. Well, I was for a little while. Sort of. But I love going to these kinds of cafes, you know. They're so quaint. Okay. Well, I have to read about, well, no, I won't do it right now. Celebrating St. Nicholas Day. Because we're more about Thanksgiving right now. Flavors from the Mid-Atlantic. Okay, so these are from the Mid-Atlantic. These are what are most popular in that area. In New York, it's buffalo chicken wings. Well, that's definitely reached down here. Buckwheat pecan waffles. Scallops with fresh herb tartar sauce. Eggs Benedict with easy orange hollandaise. Spicy Manhattan clam chowder. Alright, Pennsylvania pot roast. Roast beef with peppered Yorkshire pudding. That's Delaware. I didn't see the area topics on the last few pages. I'm sorry I didn't be more specific. I'm just now seeing them. In Pennsylvania, it's schnitz und Nup. And in Pennsylvania, creamy navy bean soup with pesto. Alright, New Jersey, individual beef Wellington. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia cheesesteak sandwich. Now that is my husband's favorite meal. That and chicken parmesan. It's about only thing he ever orders when he goes to a restaurant. New York chicken a la king. Oh my gosh, I love that. My husband would love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so New York 3-pepper slaw. New Jersey hot cross buns. Hot cross buns. Waldorf salad from New York. Buttery homemade noodles from Pennsylvania. Philadelphia soft pretzels from Pennsylvania. Cinnamon rolls from Pennsylvania. Now we're talking my language here. Cinnamon rolls. Sweet and sour beans and carrots from Pennsylvania. Baby corn relish from New York. Rhubarb chutney, Pennsylvania. Sweet and sour red cabbage with pears, Pennsylvania. Vegetables and spicy sour cream. That sounds good. Pennsylvania. Leek and wild mushroom soup from Pennsylvania. New York cheesecake from New York. Jewish fruit kugel from Delaware. Crullers from New York. I'll take all of it, thank you. I'll try everything in here, but I won't live that long. Baked apples and phyllo nests from New York. Dutch apple cake from New York. Shoe fly pie. Cheese blintzes from New York. Funnel cakes, Pennsylvania. Whole wheat gingerbread people, Delaware. Delaware. So they are the ones who invented our gingerbread men. That would be a Christmas tradition. Ginger snap ice cream cookies. Oh, wow. I would love to have some of that. Nothing stops me, does it? Okay, Pennsylvania funeral pie. Fish house punch. Pennsylvania. Okay, now we're moving to the south. From the kitchens of Tidewater, Maryland, down to the bayou of Louisiana, Southern cooks over the last 3 centuries have sent forth some of the finest regional dishes this country has to offer. The South is comprised of a large and varied geographical area that includes the Atlantic coasts of Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, as well as the Gulf Coast states of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, and the landlocked states of Tennessee, where I live, Arkansas, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And they say that we are famous for our southern hospitality. Yes, well, I can't prove it. Oh, look at the geese, it's so cute. I can't disregard this. They say there is a big black influence on the cooking of the South, no doubt whatsoever. Formal entertaining was an important part of plantation life in the antebellum South. Its public face was the elegant dining room of the main house above. Behind the scenes, slaves labored in a bare-bones kitchen, often situated in another building. Tell you what, I have to say honestly that this appeals to me way more than this. And there's actually no reason why that should be, just as true. I'm sure I would be in awe of all of that and think it was quite beautiful, but I would like to live somewhere in between this and this, I guess. Rustic is way more exciting to me. So Thomas Jefferson is America's first gourmet, so they say. Jefferson is often credited with introducing ice cream into this country, but there's no proof. Thomas Jefferson, one of our presidents. Louisiana Creole. That comes from New Orleans. Florida cookery. This is an old stove. I have to read this. The long months of sultry heat in the South necessitated the preservation of food. That fact, combined with their great love of pork, inspired cooks to create 2 great southern specialties, country ham and barbecue. In Smithfield, Virginia, this country's acknowledged source of the finest cured ham tradition dates back to colonial times when pigs were fattened on peanuts before they were slaughtered, salt cured, and smoked over hardwood, and then aged for close to 1 year. Wow. one Virginian, no self-respecting pig can imagine a higher distinction than becoming in due course a Virginia ham. Spicy as a woman's tongue, sweet as her kiss, as tender as her love. Skip that part and go over here. Most of all, barbecue means community, an occasion for people from all backgrounds and socio-economic groups to gather and share a mutual passion. This was already true back at the turn of the century when the British traveler John Watkins observed, "No one who has had the good fortune to attend a barbecue will ever forget it." Oh, the smell of it all. The meat slowly roasting to a delicious brown over smoking fires. The hungry and happy crowds. It is no exaggeration to say that many a gubernatorial election in Georgia has been carried by means of votes gained at barbecues, and no campaign for governor is complete without a series of such popular feasts. Oh, I wish I had experienced one of those. Flavors from the South. Florida has hot spinach and oyster dip. And Georgia has spicy pecans. Louisiana has bourbon pecan pate. West Virginia has chutney dip. North Carolina has spicy double cheese straws. Mississippi has clam fritters. Maryland has pan-fried soft-shell crabs. Maryland crab cakes. Louisiana has chicken, oyster, and sausage gumbo. Louisiana has chicken and tasso jambalaya. Louisiana has crawfish etouffee. Kentucky has Kentucky burgoo. That's a beautiful picture. Louisiana has po' boys. Louisiana has Creole shrimp and eggplant. Georgia has baked chicken country captain. Louisiana has grillades and grits. Virginia has southern fried chicken and gravy. Tennessee is known for ham with red-eye gravy. Mississippi has catfish pecan. Let's see, Virginia has Brunswick stew. Kentucky has fried green tomatoes. It's my favorite movie. Right now, anyway. Southern Carolina cheesy corn and grits. Oh, me and my friend Karen from Australia were talking about the movie Funny Farm. Every Christmas they watch Funny Farm, and it's just one of my favorite Christmas movies. Virginia baked country ham. Louisiana red beans and rice. Louisiana peppers and grits. Maryland corn and crab chowder. Florida black bean soup. South Carolina Hoppin' John. Alabama black-eyed pea salad. Louisiana okra mix. Louisiana fried okra. Oh my gosh, my grandmother used to eat, she was from Virginia, and she would eat fried okra, and it was just like grossing me out. I don't know, I don't like okra because it has a slimy center. Even when you fry it, it still doesn't kind of get rid of that. I don't know. I don't mean to give it a bad rap. Somebody of you might love it. But I do like fried green tomatoes. Virginia peach chutney. South Carolina spoon bread. Mississippi candied sweet potatoes with apples. Arkansas cornbread. Virginia beaten biscuits. Alabama Sally Lunn. North Carolina lemony Moravian sugar bread. Oh, that looks good. South Carolina, they're the ones who do blondies. Okay, cake. Louisiana is bananas foster. Florida, key lime pie. So, Florida, you're the ones responsible for that. Louisiana, raisin bread pudding with whiskey sauce. South Carolina, triple peanut bars. Tennessee, lemon cheese pie. I want some lemon cheese pie. Oh, I want some lemon cheese pie. Mississippi, sweet potato pie with hazelnut streusel topping. South Carolina, Huguenot apple pecan tort. Louisiana, pralines. Georgia's southern pecan pie. And Louisiana, cafe brûlot. Georgia, peach pie. Louisiana, beignets. They have that at Cracker Barrel now. They're too sweet and good. Oh my gosh. Alabama, cappuccino eggnog. Kentucky, mint julep. Louisiana, cafe au lait. Okay, now we're to the Midwest. If ever there was a melting pot, it can be found in the kitchens of the Midwest, where history and geography have conspired to make dinner plate companions of wild rice, Cornish pasties, and Swiss cheese. The theme of heartland cooking is the practical, no-nonsense sustenance required by hard toil on the farm. It is the kind of hale and hearty fare that relies upon high-quality ingredients proudly set forth without the blandishments of fuss and exotic seasoning. It is the kind of robust cooking that has made church suppers at an American institution. Okay. This actually looks so much like Montana. They look like aspen trees, but I don't think they are. There's the cabins. What did they say? I have promptly forgotten what the topic is. The Midwest, which encompasses Iowa, Nebraska, Alabama. I thought Alabama was considered the South. Okay, Cook's Library, The Way to a Man's Heart. American's Dairyland is the Midwest. Ooh, the legacy of Johnny Appleseed. Although born in Boston, John Chapman became a legend in the Midwest during the first half of the 19th century. A disciple of the Swedish mystic Emanuel Swedenborg, Chapman spent 40 years walking barefoot preaching the gospel and planting apple seeds in the wilderness of India, Ohio, and Illinois. He tended young saplings on return visits, and the prolific fruits they eventually bore turn up on many regional dishes in the form of apple pie, dried apples, and apple butter. This American folk hero is buried in Johnny Appleseed Park in Fort Wayne, Indiana. When I lived in Paradise, California, we had a Johnny Appleseed fair. It was a very nice time in October or November, I can't remember. Of course, Paradise is now burned down, so I'm sure a lot of the traditions of that town will be gone. No kitchen was more compact than the chuck wagon, yet it was able to serve the needs of a team of hungry cowboys as they drove their huge herds north from Texas to the stockyards of Oklahoma and Kansas. This explains how Chicago is famous for its deep dish pizza. And actually, you will not get a better pizza anywhere in the world than in Chicago. And not just any pizza place either. So some of the flavors from the Midwest are from Wisconsin. You have Wisconsin cheddar bacon puffs, Michigan cherry Swiss cheese spread. Wisconsin beef pot roast. Illinois wine and herb marinated ribeye roast. Iowa chicken fried steak with gravy. Oh, yeah, you can get that here too. That's just so many of these dishes they're not just indigenous to the area anymore. Is indigenous the right word to use? Well, anyway, it isn't just in these areas, it's all over the U.S. now. Oklahoma, beer marinated peppered T-bones. Michigan, Cornish beef pastries. Kansas, beer hocks. Minnesota, cream of chicken and wild rice soup. Minnesota, Swedish meatballs. Ohio, pork tenderloin sandwiches. Missouri started hamburgers. Oh, I think McDonald's would never existed if they didn't have their hamburgers. Ohio, Cincinnati chili. Missouri, Casey barbecued ribs. Michigan ham balls with currant glaze. Minnesota, spinach topped pike with cheese sauce. Sausage and apple stuffed Iowa chops. Chicken with Maytag blue cheese sauce, also from Iowa. Wisconsin, sausage and kraut. Wisconsin, brats and beer. South Dakota, pheasant marsala. Wisconsin, beer cheese chowder. Illinois, Bigos. Michigan, turkey with creamy morel sauce. Chicago-style deep dish spinach pizza. Pork roast with apples and mushrooms from Nebraska. I love pork roast. Oh my gosh. Norwegian fruit soup from Minnesota. Minnesota, Swedish limpa bread. Wisconsin, apple strudel. Black walnut and date pudding cake from Ohio. Illinois, pierogies. I don't know. North Dakota, hot German potatoes and pea salad. Kansas, whole wheat honey bread. Ohio, walnut potica. Missouri, fresh tomato scallop with radish sauce. Indiana, corn on the cob. Really? That's interesting. Minnesota, fruity wild rice pilaf. Minnesota, wild rice muffins. Missouri, black walnut wild raspberry bread. Nebraska, whole wheat rhubarb pudding cake. Iowa, they are the ones who did the whoopie pies. Is that what they sell at Cracker Barrel in Southern? I can't remember now. So Wisconsin, cream and lingoberry filled pastry cones. Wow, that looks so good. Ohio, blackberry jam cake with lemon buttercream frosting. Minnesota, crinkle. Minnesota, Danish pepper nuts. Illinois, Swedish torte. Michigan, Finnish spice cake. Oh, that looks beautiful. Michigan, Finnish vipuri twist. That looks like a large pretzel, but they're calling it a vipuri twist. Nebraska, pink rhubarb punch. And rhubarb is not a sweet vegetable, so I'd have to put a ton of sugar in there, just like you have to do with cranberries. Okay, here's the Southwest. It is an irony of America's culinary history that the parched lands of Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico should give birth to one of this country's most irresistible cooking styles. Those who think of southwestern fare as synonymous with Tex-Mex specialties have probably been missing out on the variety and subtlety of the region's cuisine. Spanish influence in this region was profound. Hernando Cortez, Spanish priest. So there is a heavy Spanish influence on the Southwest cooking. That should go without saying, actually. And I'm thankful because I love Mexican food. The Spanish explorers came to what is now the American Southwest looking for gold. They didn't find it, but they stayed anyway. They definitely influenced our American history, as they were actually there first. And we're not going to get into that discussion either. The world of chilies. So much desert in this area. Got an airplane going by. Whenever I hear a low-flying plane, I say to my husband, "There's that lonely airplane sound." Preserving the art of Hopi cookery. Hop pie. Hopi. The curious case of chocolate. In the southwestern kitchen, chocolate appears in a most unusual guise. The cocoa bean, from which chocolate is made, is indigenous to Mexico and was used by the Aztecs in a bitter drink they called... I can't even pronounce that word. During their sojourn in Mexico, the Spanish created a very flavorful paste by mixing a bit of the powdered cocoa bean with black chilies, garlic, saffron, and spices. The cocoa was added to deepen both the flavor and the color of this mole paste, which the Spanish cooked with wild turkey. Although it is usually reserved for special occasions in home kitchens, the lucky traveler may still spot turkey mole on restaurant menus through the Southwest. That's so interesting. Okay, here's some flavors from the Southwest. New Mexico has chorizo con queso, so a dip. Chorizo con queso. New Mexico pine nut cheese bites. Arizona has vegetable-topped cheese quesadilla. New Mexico has guacamole. New Mexico has green chili cheese spread. Oh, chili cheese spread. Oh my gosh, I love jalapeno poppers with cream cheese. Texas, shrimp with cilantro lime cocktail sauce. Arizona has empanaditas. Is that how you say it? Texas has picadillo. Texas has Texas-style beef brisket with 5 alarm sauce. New Mexico has chorizo stuffed cajote. New Mexico swordfish and salsa verde. Salsa verde. Oh, I just love salsa verde. Arizona chicken enchiladas. Texas turkey and chorizo mole. Turkey and chorizo mole. Arizona chile rellenos. Casserole. Oh, I would love that. This is my favorite kind of food. Texas pork tenderloin in cornbread. Texas is flautas. Arizona has chimichangas. Arizona taco salad. Texas chili. New Mexico has black bean and chayote, coyote, chayote. Texas, shredded beef burritos. Arizona, chicken with peppers and cilantro pesto. New Mexico, pozole. New Mexico, pinon pine muffins. New Mexico, pine cornmeal muffins. Arizona has Navajo fry bread. Texas has Texas coleslaw. New Mexico has corn tortillas. Arizona has flour tortillas. New Mexico has blue cornmeal pancakes with fresh berries. New Mexico has refried beans. Arizona has spicy corn souffle. Texas has pico de gallo. Texas has layered black bean salad. Texas also has cilantro pesto. Arizona has avocado salsa. I don't like avocados. I was raised in California. I just can't do it. I don't like olives either. I know I'm strange. Texas has caramel flan with mangoes. New Mexico has bizcochitos. I think Mexican hot chocolate from New Mexico. New Mexico has buñuelos. Arizona has sangrita. New Mexico has tortilla tart. Okay, now we're in the West. The discovery and settlement of the American West is the stuff of myth and legend, and I just love it. Okay. Beyond the vast herds of roaming buffalo on the eastern plains of Wyoming and Montana, travelers were awed by the Rocky Mountains sprawling south through Colorado to New Mexico. The reward for crossing those perilous cliffs was the arid deserts of southern Utah, Nevada, and California. It was only the addiction to wide open spaces and the lure of gold that drew men irresistibly beyond them. The cooking of the earliest settlers was the rough and ready kind. What wasn't roasted directly on an open fire was cooked in a large cast iron Dutch oven, used for both slow cooking stews and sourdough breads. Cowboys responded to the call of "come and get it," eating whatever emerged from the back of the chuck wagon. Oh yeah, totally can relate because I love and I die for wide open spaces and arid, dry air. Cook's Library, early Montana recipes. See, I lived on a property that looked just like this out in Butte, Montana. It was harsh as it looks, but it was a fantasy of beauty and wildlife. The Mormons of Utah's, of course, I could just go on and on about the states from the West. Idaho potatoes. No state can be more proud of the fruits of its land than Idaho is of its potatoes. License plates read famous potatoes, and the Idaho Potato Commission has published a 200-page treatise called Aristocrat in Burlap, a history of the potato in Idaho. Idaho produces about 1/3 of the U.S. fall potato crop. Thank you, Idaho. California, here I come. This is my passion. I fell in love with the beautiful ferns that grow around these giant, giant trees, which I love, and that's home to me. As much as I enjoy Tennessee in its own way, I still long to go home, and that was a picture of it. Abalone is quite possibly the most expensive indigenous American food. I guess that's from California, or the West. Here are the flavors from the West. We have almond avocado spread. Idaho, that's from California, of course. Idaho. Avocados from California. Idaho potato skins with mushroom filling. We have California goat cheese, tomato, and oregano baboli pizza. Yum. Utah has Mormon fish chowder. California has jalapeno. Jalapeno? I'm not sure how to say that. Idaho has marsala, marinated trout. Colorado has Rocky Mountain trout. Isn't that beautiful? Look, they have a depiction of gold, panning for gold. I've gone panning for gold before. It's so much fun. California stir-fried seafood with linguine. California fresh tuna with fettuccine. California crab Louise. I love artichokes. Okay, California veal with sherry and olives. Montana marinated venison loin with fried grapes. I've never heard of fried grapes. That's so interesting. Wyoming cowpuncher stew. Nevada miners camp pie. I think I've had that before. Wyoming chicken pot pies. Oh, yum. I love pot pies, meat pies. California chicken salad with jalapeno dressing. Utah split pea and sausage soup. California Cobb salad. Yum. Okay. California chicken with black bean sauce. Nevada has marinated grilled lamb. Colorado has hunter's leg of lamb. Beautiful. Aren't these pictures just gorgeous? California green goddess dressing. California Caesar salad with bagel croutons. California pasta salad with chèvre and tomatoes. California pasta with artichoke sauce. California avocado and fruit salad. No, thank you. Idaho twice baked potatoes. Oh, yes. California stuffed artichokes. Yum. California summer ratatouille. Colorado cowboy beans. California western pepper jelly. Interesting. California sourdough bread. Sourdough starter. Sourdough bread is my most favorite bread in the whole wide world. Montana kolaches. California date pinwheel cookies. Those look good. California grapefruit meringue pie. Creamy fresh apricot tart from California. Apricots are so good. Definitely had a lot of those growing up. I don't really get any good ones anymore since I've moved to Tennessee. Utah has pioneer fruit candy. I've never heard of that. Interesting. California poached figs with creme anglaise. California almond shortbread cookies. California cappuccino. Alright, this might be the last category, the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Before the Oregon Territory began to attract settlers during the mid-19th century, the wilderness that now comprises the states of Washington and Oregon was inhabited by numerous groups of Native Americans, including the Tlingit, Salish, Chinook, and Haida. The impressive Cascade Range traverses this region from north to south, producing coastal lowlands to the west and an arid region to the east. Further diversity is created by Oregon's high desert and the rich fertility and temperature climate of the Willamette Valley, just south of Portland, Oregon. The Native Americans of this region enjoyed a diet of plenty with an abundance of seafood, game, and wild berries. For their starch, they relied primarily upon the wild camas bulb, which they dug up with sticks, baked, and then sun-dried for winter use. Salmon. Salmon was the staple of most Indians of the Pacific Northwest, who would migrate each summer to spear these delicious fish in the mighty Columbia River. Yes, mighty is a good word for that river. What they didn't eat fresh, they would air dry in the gusty winds to create jerky. Often they would simultaneously smoke the salmon over an alder wood fire. The Pacific Northwest was won by an apple tree. Yeah, I guess that's why it was a big deal in Paradise, Northern California. Let's see. This is just gorgeous to me, and it is so much of what I remember from the West when I lived there. Isn't that pretty? I had an apple tree on my property in Montana. See, I kind of think of Oregon and Washington as being western states along with Idaho and Montana, but there is quite a big difference. So Seattle's known for its coffee. Flavors from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Oregon is known for its pear, prosciutto, and blue cheese appetizers. Washington fresh herb and chevre spread. Oregon Basque lamb shakes. Oregon pheasant in orange honey sauce. Alaska chilled salmon steaks with lemon dill dressing. No, we mustn't forget Alaska, but Alaska is so much like Montana. Alaska is known for salmon and phyllo with mustard cream sauce. Washington grilled veal chops with Walla Walla onion marmalade. How beautiful. All these pictures are so gorgeous. Washington marinated venison chops. Hawaii ginger orange shrimp stir fry. Alaska halibut steaks with thyme and tomato coulis. Coulis. Hawaii mahi mahi with honey ginger glaze. Washington geoduck clam chowder. Alaska grilled elk burgers. I have had elk. My ex-husband used to go hunting and brought us home some elk and deer. Saved us a few dollars. Washington has pumpkin soup. Hawaii has pineapple salsa. Oregon has mushroom medley au gratin Oregon has gooseberry relish. Alaska has sourdough pancakes. Oh my gosh, I want to try that. That sounds so good. Hawaii, banana macadamia nut muffins. Oh my gosh, those pancakes. It's a good thing I ate. Oregon, oatmeal prune muffins. Alright, Washington has wilted spinach and Dungeness crab salad. That is a gorgeous picture. Oh, you notice that all of these photographs are set up to look of old, because people who bake pies and make desserts these days do not have countertops that look like this. Although that's what I would love to have. Oregon has blackberry pie with hazelnut glaze. Washington has apple cherry pie. Pastry for double crust pie. Oh, they're giving you a recipe for that. Oregon pear cobbler. Hawaii has frosty Hawaiian nog. Oh, that looks and sounds so good. Okay, as we get towards the end of the book, the pages are becoming a little more difficult to turn here. This is a huge book. Hawaii has cream cheese macadamia pie. Hawaii has Hawaiian upside down cake. Love upside down cake. Hawaii has baked custard with coffee sauce. Oh, my, I'll take that. I will take that. Of course, there's very little that I have looked at in here that I wouldn't love to have. That is a stunning picture. Washington appleberry cider. I'll take a cup right now, thank you very much. Oregon hazelnut crunch ice cream. I'll take that too. Hawaii pineapple daiquiri ice. And that's the end. I kind of thought we were towards the end. Alright, well, I'm going to shut this book and show you one more time the beautiful cover of this Heritage of America cookbook. Thank you so much for joining me here today and looking through our historic American cookbook and times. Whether you have Thanksgiving or celebrate it or not, from my house to yours, I wish you a blessed day. See you in the next video.